Hello, welcome to Wrist Advice video and podcast. We're super happy to have you today. I'm thoroughly excited to have you listen in today and talk about something that's just awesome. Everybody talks about it, everybody plans for it, and good things happen and bad things happen, but mostly good things happen when they go and do traveling. We're talking about some of the fruits of your life and fruits of what you work hard and do to go travel and to go see the world. This is an amazing world that we live in. It's just an amazing world. And when you put all of this together, one of the real benefits is to be able to travel. Today we have a dear friend, Colin Stroud, on us with us. Welcome to the show, Colin.
Hey, Paul, thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to help today.
Yeah, Colin, give us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I'm in Indiana. I've got two little girls, a 6 month old and a 3 year old. I'm married, and so I'm enjoying the craziness of family life. I was working in a nonprofit space and got really into credit card points, like many people do, just normal as a hobby. And I kind of figured that some people didn't understand them and they were confused by them. They didn't know what to do. So I actually started a little side hustle business helping people use their points, and it blossomed into a full thing. And in October 2024, I quit my job with a baby due in a few weeks, and and I've been doing this full time. And I'm basically a credit card points and miles consultant. So I help people who have a lot of points or who want to have a lot of points and get them and take amazing trips. So that's what I do full time, and having a lot of fun doing it.
Outstanding, outstanding. Well, grateful to have you on the show today in the podcast. It's really exciting to have you. One of the things that, Colin, I just want to share with you is, first off, I do want to say that Colin has helped myself and Catherine in the past with some travel, and it was flawless. And he knew some things that we didn't know, and I thought I knew a lot. And but Colin is just a depth of resource and knowledge, and so we're here to share some of that with you. But it's interesting, Colin. I have, prospective clients that walk in our office, and we manage over $1.1 billion for some really successful families, business owners, and awesome people. And when they walk in for our first meeting, I sit down with them and I tell them that I can read their minds. And they go, "What do you mean you can read our minds, Paul?" I said, "I think I know what you want to do in the next 5 to 10 years." And they said, "Oh, you do?" I said, "Yeah. Can I give it a shot?" And they say, "Yes." I said, "I think you want to travel more." And they look at each other and go, "Wow, you can read minds, Paul." And then I say, "I think you want to be with your children more." And they go, "Oh my gosh, Paul, that's two for two. You can't get the third one." I said, "I think I know what the third one is. You want a second residence, and you want to have a second place probably near your children or up in the mountain, near the beach or somewhere." And they said, "Oh my gosh, do you listen to our conversation on the way to your office?" And I said, "Nope, I didn't. But it's just a common trait."
Mhm.
And you're here to help us with those first two things: travel more with them individually and or travel with their kids. And
Yeah.
walk us through this journey, Colin, of earning and redeeming their points and travel.
Yeah, I mean, the very basics 101 of credit card rewards are you spend money, and these banks give you a little bit of money back. Sometimes it's cash back, sometimes it's in the form of rewards. Most of your listeners know that. Like, everyone's been sold a million credit cards. And there's a level, maybe one, to this game, which is, get some money back on your spending, and everyone knows that. But this game of credit card rewards, points, and miles, it can go many, many levels deeper. It can get a little bit crazy, actually, and people do some simply wild stuff. When I say wild, I mean really luxurious stuff. But yeah, basically, if you spend a substantial amount of money, so you spend over $100,000 a year, which life's expensive in 2025, I would guess that most people listening to this spend over that. you can get substantial rewards and you can do some amazing things with them. So really you have to figure out, if you want to get into this, you got to figure out what credit card makes sense for you. We can talk about that. And then you need to figure out how to use those rewards, whether it's airline miles, hotel points, or more flexible bank points like Chase points or Amex points, how to use those effectively to do the stuff you want to do. And that can be a little hard sometimes. It can be really fun to figure out, but it is a little bit of a game. In my opinion, it's certainly a game worth playing. And I think you can personally attest to that. There's so many things you can do and experiences to unlock that you might have not thought were possible before. So I love helping people do that.
That's great. Well, let's jump into it, Colin. Walk us through the earning part of this two-part formula.
Sure. So earning points, right? You're going to want the fastest way to earn points is with a credit card. Some people earn points all the time by flying multiple times a week or staying in hotels. Most of us, though, are not doing that. It's not a realistic way to earn points. So for most people, they're going to earn points just by spending their normal monthly, yearly expenditures on a credit card. Or business owners probably have a unique opportunity in that many small business owners will spend 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I just talked to someone spending $500,000 a month this morning. That's not everyone, but it's certainly possible. So the key question is, what card do I use? So I'm going to throw cash back out for just the purpose of this conversation because cash back is fine. It's simple. You spend your money, you get 2% cash back. Awesome. You can use that for whatever you want. But there is an arbitrage opportunity with travel points and miles cards that I think is remarkable, and we'll talk about that. So I'm going to focus this conversation on travel cards. So you really have a few options. You can do a hotel card, very simple. You can get a Marriott credit card and put everything on that. Awesome. You have Marriott points, you can stay at Marriott's. Or you can get an airline card. You can get a Delta card, American card. I'm sure a lot of listeners have that. The third option is a little bit more confusing or overwhelming for people, but in my opinion is the best option, which is to get one of these flexible point bank travel cards. So that would be things like the Chase Sapphire Preferred. You've probably gotten emails or direct mail about that. American Express Business Platinum, the Capital One Venture X. These are cards and you see commercials about them and you're probably like, I don't know if it makes sense. What's unique about these cards is that they earn flexible currencies. So you might earn about the same points that you earn on a Delta card with an American Express card, but you can use those points for a bunch of stuff. You can book through American Express Travel, and you can book flights, you can book hotels. Some of the other ones let you book cruises, you can book rental cars, any flight, any hotel, any rental car you want, which is awesome. If you only have Delta Sky Miles, you can really only book Delta flights. But what's really, really cool too, and we can talk about this more when we talk about redeeming points, is you have the ability to transfer points to sometimes, 12 to 18 different airline and hotel partners. And that's where things get really interesting because when you build up these stores of these bank points, American Express, Chase, Capital One, Citi, Wells Fargo, whatever bank you decide to go with, you have access to all these airline programs. So all of a sudden, by having 100,000 American Express points, you could send those one-to-one right to Delta, right to Air France to get a flight to Paris, right to Singapore Airlines, which is, most people don't think about Singapore. But if you wanted to do that, you certainly could. You can go to Hilton, you can go to Marriott, you can go to IHG, and it depends on these different programs have different partners. So a lot of people don't even know they could do that. I meet people all the time with 500,000 plus American Express points who didn't even know they could send them all to Marriott or send them all to Hilton or something. So that's really, really important. So I'll pause there and say, for the step one earning, you got to figure out what card makes sense for you. I could speak maybe for hours about choosing a card. Honestly, I would say, and maybe not everyone is comfortable doing this on the tech side, ChatGPT is an amazing points and miles consultant. You should go into ChatGPT. You should put in, I am Paul. I spend $100,000 a year on my life. I like to travel to Europe and I like to travel to Mexico. What travel credit card should I get? And it can start the conversation for you. And it can help you decide like which one is best for you. So hopefully that gives you some people some good actionable tips to get started because it can be a little overwhelming to choose a card.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah. No, that's great. And so Colin, you have thousands and hundreds of thousands and how many followers on LinkedIn do you have?
Yeah, LinkedIn continues to grow. I'm amazed by it, but I think I'm at about 23,000 people now following along on LinkedIn, which is awesome.
23,000. That's incredible. And so you really help the business community people. What would you say are the top five credit cards along that ChatGPT would also recommend that you can get someone pointed in the right direction today?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm a little biased, and I think a lot of people would agree with me in this space that are experts on these bank credit cards versus like an airline or hotel. So I'll throw out the airline and hotel cards and say my favorite bank cards. I'll say the personal side and then the business side.
Right.
Personal, I think for sure would have to be the Capital One Venture X card, 2x miles and everything, a lot of cool benefits. The American Express Gold card. 4x points on restaurants, 4x on groceries. People really love that. And then the Chase Sapphire Preferred card, probably Chase's best travel card, lots of amazing partners, other cool earning things. So those are probably my top three personal credit cards. There are some other ones out there that are a lot more expensive. The American Express Platinum or the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Though you get to a $700+ annual fees, which can be worth it for some people, for frequent travelers, but not for maybe the average Joe. On the business side, there's a lot of these cards. They're very similar. So Chase has got an Ink Preferred card, an Ink Unlimited card. Those are very good options. Any of those Ink cards would be great for Chase. Capital One has a very similar card. It's just the Venture X Business. And then on the American Express business side, they've got the Platinum and the Gold card. Those are both really strong. So I say for a lot of people, they can't go wrong. One of the things I do in my paid consultative services is sit down with a business owner or a person and be like, okay, what do you spend on? I just met someone who spends $5,000 a month on DoorDash, which is interesting. I've never met someone that spends that much. And so that's a lot in dining. You know, I certainly don't spend that much on dining. And so he really needs to have that American Express Gold card to earn 4x points per dollar on dining. But I mean people who spend $0 on dining, so that card may be less relevant. So you just got to think about what do you spend? And then we'll get to this, but how do where do we like to travel? So we want to make sure we're earning the right points to go to the places we want to go.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
That's really helpful for us to know that first step of the travel formula of earning. Let's talk about the fun side of the equation, and that is redeeming and also the hacks that you have. Walk us through the redeeming part of these credit cards and how to do it right and some things that we need to be aware of.
Awesome, for sure. So most people book through these travel portals with the banks. It's easy, it's simple, and there's nothing wrong with it per se. But the thing is that you can get more value by transferring points to airline and hotel partners, and that's really where I come in. And I think the knowledge most people get to this point in the redemption journey, whatever we'll call it, and just get too overwhelmed and say, I can't do this. But here's why it's worth leaning into it. In the travel portal, your points have a fixed value. But when you start transferring points, you could get some unbelievable value. So instead of getting 1 cent per point, you might have a way to get 5 cents per point. And to put that in, I know we're talking about pennies here, so it may sound irrelevant. But if you have 100,000 Chase points, right, getting $1,000 of value versus getting $5,000 of value from those points is a very, very, very big difference. And that's a lot of money that could go back into your investments or something on your end. So that's what gets me really excited, is helping people do that. And the way you do that is can be a little painful, but it's really about understanding these different airline and hotel loyalty programs you have access to. So one of the ones I like to teach about, because it's so simple, is World of Hyatt. So Chase, I believe Chase credit cards are the most popular on the market. World of Hyatt, in my mind, has the best, by far, points program of any airline or any hotel that exists. Why? Because it's simple. Every single hotel in the World of Hyatt family of hotels is categorized, category 1 through 8. So category 1 hotels are about 5,000 points a night. Category 8 hotels, we're talking fancy ones, the Park Hyatt Milan or something like that. Or Park Hyatt in New York City. That's going to be about 40,000 points per night. But what's really remarkable is that as the cash price goes up and down, the points price stays the same. So for example, I went to the Hyatt Regency Coconut Point during spring break in 2024 or 2025, excuse me, in Florida. So it's in Bonita Springs, Florida. Really nice, beautiful hotel. The points price of that hotel was 21,000 points per night. But because it was spring break and there was some conferences and events going on, The cash price of this hotel was at $1,200 per night. Again, the points price is 21,000. What does that mean? Think when you hear 21,000 points, think 210 bucks worth of points for a $1,200 a night hotel.
Oh, wow.
That spread, that arbitrage is the name of the game. That is the entire point of my business and the whole world of points and miles and all these nerds out there that are trying to figure this stuff out. That's what we're after, okay? And there's a million iterations of that, right? Air France business class flights, you can get those for maybe as low as 120,000 points round trip to Europe from America. That's think 1,200 bucks worth of points. The cash price of a round trip Air France business class flight could easily be $4,000, if not more. And so hopefully you're starting to see, your listeners can see, the arbitrage opportunities are remarkable. And so transferring points in and of itself is not some magic thing. All we're doing, transferring is simply the method of booking these deals that we find. We're finding the deals on the airline and hotel websites. So if you message me, Paul, and say, find me a deal, there's nothing magic about transferring. I'm going to the airline websites and trying to find good stuff. Now, one thing I'll say though, before I stop here, I know I was saying a lot, you might be saying, wait a minute, Colin, do I have to go to 17 different airline websites and scour for deals? Like that sounds horrible and painful, and I'm just not going to do that. Well, it's 2025 and there's some really cool websites out there. Most of them you have to pay for that will do a lot of this work for you. So I'll throw them out. Point.me, Seats.aero, that's Seats.aero, AERO. Points, yeah, YEAH. They're all weird names. Roam, Travel, ROAME. These are all softwares you can pay for. They're usually between $8 and $15 a month that are scanning all of these programs for you and will help you find deals. They'll even email you when a specific deal you want becomes available. So I highly recommend any listeners to go check those out. They're really, really cool programs. And 10 years ago, none of this stuff existed. So people were just scouring airline websites. But now these programs are really, really great. So I know that's a lot, but hopefully that kind of covers some of the redemption stuff.
So what you're saying, Colin, is on the second part of the formula of credit card usage in the redemption side, you were down in Florida for spring break. The cash price was $1,200, but redeeming through Hyatt, it was $200. And that arbitrage. So if you had the points, locked in, you had them stored up, you could literally use those points and not be blacked out. And Hyatt is an example that you used. And that's what this is all about then.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I should clarify there. It was 21,000 World of Hyatt points. That's what World of Hyatt charged they charged 21,000 points. In points, they charged $1,200 in cash. Where did I get those World of Hyatt points? It wasn't a World of Hyatt credit card. I don't have one of those. I have a Chase credit card. Chase transfers to World of Hyatt. It's actually the only bank that does. And so I send the points when I saw the deal with Hyatt. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I transfer the points from Chase to Hyatt to book it. So it's a relatively seamless, simple process to do.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And what other tricks out there that's really neat about those websites? Aero Seats and the two other ones that you mentioned. What are some other things that some of our listeners can do in maximizing their money and their points in advance of wanting to go to some of these destinations?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with points and the biggest con, like some people might hear some of this I'm saying and say it's too good to be true, and the pushback to that is it's hard to find some of this stuff. So yes, I got a great deal. Is that a deal available every single day of the year? No. Is that are these business class flights I help people get available every day of the week? No. So the number one thing listeners can do to open themselves up to these good deals would be to have flexibility on destination and flexibility with dates. Now, I understand that's not possible for everyone. We have school schedules, we have all these different things, but any flexibility you can have is great. I would say if you're lock set on going to London, awesome. London's a great place. But what if the best deal ever just popped up to Paris? Would it be the end of the world to go there? Like, I think you'd still have fun, you know what I mean? Or the same thing, like you have to think a little bit out of the box and creatively to find the best deals and say, I can't go to the Seychelles. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but the Maldives, there's a good deal, you know. And again, both of those are extreme luxury destinations. For us, like my family, you know, I'm fine to go anywhere in the Caribbean that's safe. I'd never heard of St. Kitts and Nevis until about a year ago. I didn't even know it existed, but I found this crazy good deal there for a hotel, and so we went in February, and it was amazing. But I literally didn't know that country existed. It certainly wasn't on my bucket list like other countries are. You know, I want to go to Ireland. It's on my bucket list. Haven't seen the right deal that made sense for my family to go, so we enjoyed St. Kitts, and it's not comparable to Ireland, but it's like ultimately we're just wanting to travel and spend time together and be as a family and do these fun things. And that's really my mission, is help make that stuff more possible. And so I think when you're open and you're flexible, you have a lot more opportunity to take advantage of some of these awesome deals. It's a little bit hard for me when people say, I want to be in Rome, Italy, August 11th. I need to be there by 10 a.m. East. It's like, okay, that's going to be really hard to make some of that stuff happen with points. If you're open, you can do all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, and you know, in the news right now is the Jeff Bezos wedding, and so I'm grateful that you're with us, Colin, instead of in Venice at that big wedding this week.
I didn't
Uh,
get invited. I don't know.
I
My
know.
invitation must have been lost in the mail.
Yeah. You know, and to your point too, Colin, just last week in the Wall Street Journal, they were talking about how these credit card points and hotel points and airline points are the third largest currency in the world. Billions of dollars sitting out there. And the Wall Street Journal was talking about how the big, beautiful bill that the Senate is reviewing right now, how they were going to try to maybe tax that stuff, not tax it. And it looks like there's been some updates that they're not even bringing that into the equation. But you know, this travel that you're in the middle of and that you're an industry leader on is really significant, and that these points are real, and these credit card banks, airline, and hotel cards can really get you around the world to see some amazing places. And what would you say are five destinations that some of our listeners should look at and hotels that they should consider?
Oh yeah, great question. And I'll say if someone wants to Google something right now, Google the big business of points. I think it is Point.me wrote an article, and they basically explain how these airlines make unbelievable profits off of these loyalty points programs. So that's a whole topic in and of itself there. Some different places that maybe I'd say I see a lot of deals to. Hotel deals, Cancun, right, in Mexico. Maybe it's a little bit of a basic destination, quote unquote. But there's so many hotels. Anytime you have a lot of places, you're going to have a lot of opportunity with points. So Cancun, Cabo, Punta Cana for these all-inclusive type destinations, you've got a ton of hotel options there, especially in the Hyatt, Marriott, Hilton families there. In terms of flight deals, you know, it's going to be really hard for you to get to Montenegro. I don't know if anyone wants to go there. You know, it seems like a cool place. But when you're going to Western Europe, London, Paris, Italy, Spain, you know, there's a lot of deals to these high trafficked places. So there's lots of options there. I think really what it is you kind of, let's say you have a bunch of points. You want to look at the programs you have access to. And then you want to find what are the sweet spots there? You know, what are some of the best deals? So I just put on LinkedIn, right? Amex transfers at a 1-to-2 ratio to Hilton. That's cool. So 100,000 Amex points becomes 200,000 Hilton points. So that gets
Wow.
my brain going, saying I have access to Hilton. There's this bonus transfer thing. What are the best sweet spots for Hilton? So I just Google. I say, what are the best Waldorf Astorias in the U.S.? And all of a sudden I find the Waldorf Astoria Park City. It's an amazing place in Park City, Utah. And I just look through and I see, oh wow, it's listed as low as 140,000 points per night. During peak ski season. Again, that would only be 70,000 Amex points per night because it's a 1-to-2 ratio. I look at the cash price and it was listed, I can't remember, I think about $1,900 a night. So that math again is $700 worth of points a night for a $1,900 a night peak ski season,
Wow.
beautiful ski in, ski out Park City, pinnacle of luxury, Waldorf Astoria, you know, and it's like, you start playing this game and learning how it all works, and these deals kind of just start popping up in front of you, and you have to play around with it. And I spend more hours than most doing this, but it's certainly out there. And so yeah, there's so many good places. I probably could talk forever about that, but all the places that the average American's interested in: Mexico, Caribbean, Europe. there's going to be lots of options for you to get there. The more out there places, like, I don't know, going to Sri Lanka, I don't know much about it. It's going to be harder maybe to find a deal to Sri Lanka because there's not that many flights there, but you could still theoretically do it. Cancun, London, Punta Cana, they're going to be a lot easier to find stuff because there's lots of demand and supply there.
That's great. So great. Well, Colin, how can our listeners get in touch with you and have you help them with some of the things that we've talked about today?
For sure. Thanks for asking. So, two places, LinkedIn. I'm really active there, Colin Stroud, just on LinkedIn. And then my website, my company's called Go Somewhere. So you can find me at
Oh,
gosomewhere.world.
what a cool name.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, I couldn't. It was the name of my newsletter, and I couldn't come up with a better name. And I was just like, I needed a name, and I was like, all right, go somewhere. So that's the go. That's the mission, really. It's just to help more families do more awesome things, and for less money. So gosomewhere.world is my website. LinkedIn, and really, I do two main things. I do consultative services. If you want me to help you come up with a plan, if you want me to teach you some of this stuff, I can do that. I charge a flat fee for that. For trip planning, if you have a bunch of points and you say, I really want to go to Bora Bora, you can pay me a flat fee to figure all that out for you and help you book all that stuff. So I really am trying to help more and more business owners. So if you're a business owner spending 20, 30,000 plus a month, you're kind of the ideal person I'm looking to talk to these days, because I think there's really unmatched potential for any business owner with that kind of spend. I'm now talking more and more business owners spending six figures plus per month, and it's just unbelievable, the opportunities. So if that's you, we have to talk. If that's not you, I'd still love to talk. And there's so many cool things that we can do. So find me those two places. On my LinkedIn, I have some free resources. I've got like a guide on how to transfer points, some of the stuff I've talked about here. Also a guide about how to choose a credit card. So both of those are free, and definitely encourage you to check those out. They're right on my website and my LinkedIn.
Wonderful. Well, Colin, thanks for joining our show and podcast today. It's great to hear you. Great to see you again. Thanks for all you do. You've helped some of our other clients, and you're just an exceptional industry leader, and you help people fulfill their dreams.
That's the
And
goal.
I just can't say it enough. I've seen a lot of people recently. We had a client who passed away about 6 months ago, had an estate of about $100 million.
Hmm.
And in his final days, he just said, I wish I could have done more, but I just didn't get out.
Wow.
And so, it's about living that life of significance and living your life and going and doing these things, because we never know what tomorrow will bring. So
Yes.
thank you, listeners. Please remember to give us a thumbs up, like, share with other people. And until next show, live a life of significance. We'll talk to you soon.